even if they were to go 1-3, there is still a small world of possibilities, but it will be perhaps out of their own hands, their faith, that is. So, of course, they're coming into this confident. He said in the interview he expects to 2-0 Navi, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, I love the confidence. We have been seeing it from Giant X time and time again. It doesn't matter if they were winning, if they were losing. Yeah. But on the other side, when we're speaking about being unpredictable, changing things, Navi is the perfect opponent to be going up against. I think that there is going to be absolute chaos, potentially.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of individuals that love to do some creative plays, to put it in a particular way. And both these teams have those individuals, so it's not going to be too one-sided. I think we're up for a very long best of 3. I think we're going to be going to 3 maps.
This could go muddy.
It could get messy. But some of these players, you know, maybe they like it a little bit messy.
You know?
I'm enjoying some fun in the mud. I don't know where this one is going, but yeah, you know what? I enjoy the creativity and the confidence to try out different things. Angel said it last week. They're still on a self-finding mission, right? They still need to figure out who they are as a team, and almost all teams in the first 2 weeks of play have already also talked about how they just want to have more fun on the server. Now, will they have fun on the maps that have been selected? What do you think?
The bans are expected. The Pearl I did not expect. So Navi has been banning this past 2 weeks at Ascent. Giant X has done the same. Navi has been picking what they picked previous week, not the previous one against Fnatic, that Fracture. So we've seen it in the past being picked. Yeah. The surprise is for Giant X picking the Pearl, because they only played it like once and they got battered. So I anticipate that there's going to be changes. There's going to be adaptation. And when we think about the time that you have to prepare for your opponent and how you might and want to surprise them week to week, I do not see a world where Navi saw this Pearl being picked.
Yeah, but for me, initially I was upset because Haven's not there, and I did that whole bit, so I was like, everyone watch this A-Long control at Haven. Gone now. But the fact that we are going to be jumping into Fracture, there's a lot of reps from Navi on that. Even though Navi played well against Fnatic, there's a lot of rounds to study if Giant X were expecting this pick from them. And then going over to Pearl as well, you're talking about reps. It's been a little while since we saw Pearl getting picked by these guys, and them getting to start on the defense might be a bit rough. Like, yeah, we haven't seen a huge amount of Navi's Pearl as well, but starting on the attack always gets you off on the right foot. And if they're able to take Fracture, lead into Pearl with a win, theoretically, then starting on the attack, you've got confidence going over the brim. And with that win last week, all of this combined, it could be a very dangerous place for Giant X today.
Let's take a look at the agent select for this one. Any surprises?
Yes, we see surprises.
Lots of surprises.
Doubling down on that controller role and now going from the race onto the Brimstone. Completely different Cloud. Again, playing on that Tejo. Yes, it is a swap for this map, but he's finding himself and being more and more comfortable. Tomazi on the Neon just brings me back to a couple of years ago, and I absolutely love to see it.
Yeah, for me as well, you know, going back to the Neon comp instead of the meta comp at the moment, which we're going to see from Navi. Last time Giant X played, they were running the same comp as Navi's running now. So they've obviously been cooking in the kitchen here on Fracture, and we're going to see a different style of gameplay. As you mentioned, Tomasi getting on the Duelist is going to be interesting to watch, and the double Initiator is going to be so huge. But with that Brim, you're looking at this comp, you're thinking, damn, as soon as they get that spike down, they're just going to be sitting back. They're going to be playing ratty gameplay. They're just going to be dropping utility and playing for those post plays.
Absolutely love it. Giant X also starting on the attack with this team pack, with Tomasi on the Neon. Like, they have to start on the right foot if they want to get their first win.
Oh, we're in for a good one, that's for sure. And speaking of good ones, we're going to hand it over to Haza and Kara for this last match of the day.
Thank you so much, guys. Look, it feels like familiar good old times. Tomasi's back on the duel list, and it's the Neon. It is the agent which he broke out with back in 2023. And in this GX side, they're looking to try and reform things heading into what feels like a deal breaker for that playoff stage.
Yeah, it does. And I think for both teams, there's been a lot of negativity surrounding them. But one team, GX, played against a lot more harder opponents, right? They played against Fanatics, played against... no, sorry, Fanatics. They played against Heretics and Vitality, sorry. So coming into this, a team much more of their level, are we going to see a better performance standards?
GX choosing to start out on the attack side, as they have done now the last 3 maps where they've had the choice to do so. Previously, 5 out of 5, when given the option, it was the defense that they began. Let's see if it is truly a new version of which we get from them today. Drone early from Cloud, just spotting out Hero, and then straight into the duel he goes, and Tomasi's debut on the Neon not looking like the best of starts so far. It does go trading, and Navi fall back to the site.
Taking their time, waiting for rotations to come in. GX still waiting to play as a death ball. Players to peek in towards them, but with playing so slow, Navi are unsure about where GX really want to end.
Just looking at the mid-round here as well in terms of what Navi are doing on the map, it's very relaxed towards B, as you can see right now. Koala on a much deeper line towards tower.
And that's the thing though, Navi starting to get a read, moving back towards that B site. 7 players in the server towards this side of the map, Hazza.
Just waiting to burst out of the B smoke, and you look at the utility on GX, some of that signature has come back up. The stun and the salvos dropping at the feet of Ruxic. Quick double kill, and still supported by that Sky Smoke. He's going to follow it up with Xiao's double. Na'Vi getting the pistol round on the board. It's the perfect start to their Fractured Defender side.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw the toast, and as we went into the map, we saw that GX only have a 29% win rate on their attack, and I think in that pistol round we can see it, right? It looked a little bit directionless at times. They go out and, or they try and attack in towards A main, and then from there go out in towards Sand, and then go back towards B main, and nothing really comes of it. Walking around like headless chickens.
To this round, there is no investment from GX either, so just trying to min-max things a little bit, see if they can pick up an orb. It's damage onto Angel, but not enough to put him in harm's way. So objective secured already from GX. Now they'll head back to Arcade, where Ruxic is playing solo on a committed angle.
Needs to be careful. All alone, drone will catch out, has to try and swing and get something, but all he gets is given away a stinger towards the opposing team. At the same time though, you've got to be looking at West Side and his position, still underneath this B site.
In terms of Navi's macro game as well, you see them on a lot of rounds post Koala Noob up solo and let him contain an area of the map. He was towards A and does rotate himself to check from Sand instead, and on that deeper line towards Dish. But while all of this is happening, the rest of Navi getting proactive, re-clearing Arcade with the Haunt now back up from Angel. That'll confirm at least one player.
Rescon all towards main as the players of GX try to make their way on towards the site, hitting kill traps and, well, hitting a complete stop that Navi have prepared. An easy conversion on the anti-eco.
It's what you want to see. There is still some good damage in there from GX.
Yes.
And in terms of due diligence, you look at the orbs they were able to pick up as well. I think you take that kill onto Ruxic is pretty much the same, but I'm curious to see how Tomasi is going to be played now into the rifle round here, because the last couple of rounds, we've seen him on the Neon. Here he is just getting ankled by the trap wire that time. It's an easy pick, and you know, a great counter, of which Hero, that's what we expect from him on the Cypher.
Well, and towards this round, you look at what GX are doing, staying towards that top side of the map as the barriers drop. 3 heavy in towards Arcade.
Angel, same information. Haunt comes out this time, and it is greeted with silence. Pressure put on in A main. Hero looking for the walk down underpass, a wrap around onto GX. This is where it starts to get tricky. What's the timing on the smoke? Do they clear it? No.
Watch the awareness. You can see GX being brought back. They've got an idea, and yet well thought about. GX get rid of any sort of problem that could come, although there's a late luck or a late flank coming through from Navi on that top side. GX should know about it because of the traps.
He's getting cleared out by the Prowler as well, so Navi making sure they've not missed a step here whatsoever, but it's another situation where the round opens up from Hero's aggressive positioning, the site falls from the Cypher setup, and now in terms of what they've got to come back in, I'm looking at full utility belts on 2 players.
West Side getting rid of Koala Noob as well.
One of them dead.
That's going to be massive. GX in prime position to convert, but oh no! There was just a slight chance if Tomasi was to miss out on that duel, it could have went awry. But instead, no, GX, they'll get their conversion.
And Navi, in another round, looking quite offensive in terms of how they want to try and play this. Think all the way back to the pistol, I already mentioned it. Hero, that solo player in main, does get traded out. But then here, I mean, it's just, as soon as you find those 2 players boxed in underpass, there's no second layer.
Yeah.
The reclear's coming in from Dish.
Guys, good job. Nice, well done,
Doesn't feel
boys.
like
Good
they're
job.
marrying the ideas up completely at this point in time. So I think these mid-rounds is where we've really got to be focusing in on them.
I mean, that's the thing. We'd already spoken about it coming into this, about finding your identity as a team.
And I think that goes for both of these teams as well. Both of them have made role changes, both of them changing their setup.
Tomazi
Still leading that line.
can't quite find what he's looking for. Drop of the smoke, drop off. They've created a question mark towards the B side. Obviously, we've seen a few times now GX like to go through the underpass.
And this is a very explosive comp as well, so if Tomasi can't find these clean openings in terms of the follow-up, well, you don't have the same kind of gap close. Cloud 1 away from the annihilation as they're now starting to head into main.
Problem, the hot Koala Noob, who's been so good, unfortunately will be pushed off of the angle.
So GX have looked to another avenue of the map and been shut out in effect yet again. Spike still held on to, but you've got less than a minute left to play around with. The only out right now feels like West Side towards Arcade. This is all just a fake towards B.
Operator still standing, still getting the entry pick. Koala Noob, who's been so good before, has to go up against Tomazi. West Side on the other side of the map opens things up.
And it's huge because now he has so much more freedom to lurk, but GX need to make this push work, and Koala's managed to get one on the way back out.
Time is getting low. You look at towards the map and where everybody's looking, it's in different avenues. A 1v1 towards the B site. Well, the spike goes down on A. Armageddon used to try and push players out.
Brilliant clear from Roxic though, he hung around long enough. Na'Vi now have an advantage coming back into the retake, and GX are playing from sight.
Yeah, both players stuck. No means of escape. You look at Ruxic holding on towards CT as Cloud tries to go exploring. Tomazi left all alone and needs to stand tall. You can see him peeking with the idea and instead gets caught. Now a 1 versus 3 for Cloud to try and clutch. Has salvos if he can try and waste the time, but it isn't a clean fight, not whatsoever. NAVI, they'll find the third.
It's such a big round to win as well when GX looked like they were starting to build up some momentum. I think it's so important to focus on how the early games have looked for them in a lot of these maps, because it feels like at times when they take their foot off the gas, you know, when they're not playing with momentum at their backs, then they're really, really struggling.
Nice! Get the op, Heaven! Top, second floor, second floor.
He loves the op.
Well, you can see he's clearly a priority. And I mean, we've seen that map to map, Hazza.
We have, and I think it's important that you raise it here as well, because Koala Noob, when you look at the op fights that he's taking, he's one of the best that we have in EMEA, in his words, the best. But that has been quickly disproven whenever he goes head-to-head with another op player. He has yet to win that duel, whether it be Floor, Kayak, or any other of the host of names that he's currently gone up against. And it doesn't feel like GX have like an opper to counter that in a sense, so you are really looking at a lot of that utility.
Ruxic, push forward once again. We've seen him try and play a position like this before. This time gets the value from his position. But that's no more smokes in the round for Navi.
With a spike drop, there's 2 players behind this as well, so as soon as Purpo falls, then it's a problem, because look where everyone else is. You're clambering back through main, and so Navi should have this round wrapped up. Seeing Cloud move back across the zip line to try and retrieve this, but it's all so isolated.
I mean, if Cloud can try and distract players, maybe you play in West Side, but I mean, you're talking about if, buts, and maybes here, right? We need definites.
Okay, that's not bad, and Cloud's managed to pick up his favorite gun. It's the Guardian back in his hands, but Angel is just so hot off the mark, and Na'Vi doing exactly what they need to in this round.
Yeah, I can understand, like, this round, maybe, like, the weaponry isn't necessarily there for GX, but again, we need to come back to these problems that they keep running into on attack.
And how Na'Vi are countering them as well, because you're talking about a team here which is liking to get aggressive. It's not just Koala bookmarking the space with his op, but we have to be keeping our eyes on what it is that Roxic is doing, because he's been criticized pretty heavily at times for how aggressive he can be. This is a situation where he finds himself supported.
Barriers drop. Look at how many players are ready to go up against one another. Instead of a bridge crunch, we're getting the other side this time from Navi. Ultimate invested, Koala's deep on it. The smoke dropping has worked out. West Side getting rid of Koala Noob, and even an orbital strike invested. Navi come out the better of it, but they've used a lot of ultimates to try and get that advantage.
Won't matter if they can seal this one here as GX are down to their last 3 players, and with little money left over, NAVI are beating them at every single gunfight, and so it falls on the captain, Cloud, fulfilling this role since stage 2 last year, but he doesn't have enough in the tank to take the rest up to the level. It's NAVI with a team performance.
Yeah, and the big thing for me on that round is the fact that you see where NAVI want to invest their ultimates. It's on a GX rifle buy, right? They want to try and be aggressive, make sure that GX can't go in default, and they're breaking that buy right now. Straight away, we're going to see GX come for a timeout.
Hello, Lena.
GX timeouts, a big point of conversation, I think it's fair to say, in the community as well, in terms of bringing this roster together, because you talk about them as an outfit right now, and I think the main way that most people see it is that this is the team of potentials. You've got so many names all the way down the list, which on paper have that history, have, you know, a year or 2 of VCT experience under their belt, with the exception of players such as Westside, for example, Purpo getting thrown in the middle of last year. But I think you've really got to be building now on what you have and making it a team, you know, because it still doesn't feel like it at times.
Yeah, I mean, me and you were talking about, I think it was myself and you were talking about the experience on both rosters as well, and how when you actually look at the combined experience on GX versus Angel's experience alone, like it almost gets to the point where Angel has more experience than all 5 players, like because he's been playing VCT for so long. And Giant X are maybe not a team full of rookies, but as you say, a team full of potential, which is yet to be realised.
Team which can be dangerous on their day. First signs of something more cohesive against Heretics, but that's all very quickly forgotten. If you can't start finding some wins here, especially against a NAVI side, which you expect to find in those positions, as the stage does drag on. Themselves a first win under their belt against Apex last time out, and this an opportunity to build, which they've already done pretty well. Cloud spotted, attacker side spawn. This is a much slower look from GX on their next rifle buy.
NAVI being proactive and clearing out A main. That operator towards the B side. Both players for NAVI being regressive in their positioning, right? You can see that NAVI probably thinking about playing towards a retake.
Side can have huge value coming in here late as well, but NAVI have already grouped up 4 players strong to try and fight this position. Blind is Angel, yet he walks away with the first of those kills. Runner trading in kind, but still NAVI holding on to the space.
What's GX plan here? I mean, they've traded out evenly, getting rid of Hualanud. But, I mean, the fact that this is going to end up being a crunch on the site, NAVI need to be careful.
Lot onto Ruxic here. He wins this duel, and so much pressure alleviated. Westside first bullet connects instantaneously, and the follow-up is there too. And so now Hero is the last one left made to stew in this. The signature, the signing of the off-season.
I mean, he has Neuro Theft here, but I don't think he'll want to use it.
Yet to have his hero play so far in this NAVI side, and back on the Sentinel role. He is bested by his opposite number. Brilliant from Westside, getting into position and then being the thorn in Navi's side.
Straight away after a timeout, GX get the round. Big stuff. I mean, being a lot more direct in the positioning, and on top of that, like combining what was multiple prongs to that attack. You can see Westside's lock towards that dish side, combined with the players who are stuck outside in main, and they activate at the same time. Good communication.
All the pieces coming together, and that's exactly what you want to see from them as well, as it looks like we're going to be going straight back into another one of these B main duels. No op here, just rifles behind a smoke. Similar play, we've seen NAVI go for it before.
I mean, for GX right now, they know that NAVI like to try and go underneath, right? And try and lock round before, and that's something that they'll need to be careful of.
And you tie this into the previous round, it's that lack of forfeiture of positioning from GX. The way they scaled into A main previously looked a lot better, and they're seemingly doing the same here as they start to clear away some ground. It's Ruxic who doesn't have contact. The smoke is everything, and already GX want to bypass it.
Oh, Tomasi managing to get Angel, who was playing around the smoke. Ruxic on site, unfortunately, will not get what he's looking for. NAVI need to take a moment, let the spike go down, and wait for these smokes to go as well.
There is a showstopper to come back into the retake with, and Cloud is just trying to spot this out, see if he can land a suppress. But as soon as that goes, it should be the green light for Na'Vi to make this retake happen.
Runner still holding on to 2 flashes. They can engage when GX need to. At the same time, look at Na'Vi, where they're going. They're pathing towards Arcade, trying to create another avenue in which GX need to be careful of. And the positioning of Tower, you can see them just worried about the players coming out.
Slow creep away as Na'Vi throw the towel in. GX doubling up for rounds here with another site execution. Looking a lot better from them in terms of how they're setting up, what the game plan is coming into the round. I think we saw the bad end of that against Heretics when they weren't really aware of what the opponent was doing, how they were so prepared for a lot of the setups that they were trying to make.
I think for me as well, like in the early start of the, part of this half, you could see like GX, well, we'll go to A, we'll go to B, we'll create question marks and force Na'Vi to re-clear them, but they weren't doing it effectively. And now we're just getting to a point where it's like, we're going B and we're going B. You know what I mean? Like,
it's very messy as well, I think. And when you then translate that back to Na'Vi as well, as we come into yet another gun round, is that it's these high-stress situations that they've been constantly mentioning, even in the most recent podcast episode they posted, that they were just struggling to convert from. So after building up an early lead, it's slowly stripped back by GX. And they've hit a gear change here as well. They're not trying to immediately assault. Again, West Side is the cornerstone of this play. You've got 4 players South Side, and West Side is North Side. But that's been a good look for him so far.
It has. I mean, he's been probably one of the best on this roster consistently. Well, I mean, he's going to get hunted down. Whether he can try and stick around and get something, it doesn't look to be the case. Although the players of GX are looking to explode and they're straight onto the A side.
In terms of what you have to set up for post here, Purpo still holding on to the Incendiary. Do you have a util combo to come in and try and deny the plant from Runner, but he hangs on for long enough, and with 30 seconds left to spare, the spike goes in, but Na'Vi are up close, and here's the showstopper.
And it goes. Tomazi gone. Players up from drop West Side. He gets one, but can't quite get the second. And now Runner looking to be burned on site. Neural theft to tee him up. Quite frankly, doesn't look to capitalise on it. The stun just delaying Na'Vi more and more. GX, I mean West Side, he's known about holding on, and this is just delay upon delay. You're looking at the utility that GX still have in pocket. And that value will be massive coming into these last couple seconds as the molly's dropped, and Runner has already done so well from his position. It's looking like it could all be done here, and it is. GX will find 4.
Such a well-executed round from GX as well. A little more patience on the play before they make their mind up. The execution. And when you give them the site like that, if you're Na'Vi to set up, then coming back into the retake with all the tools that they have, it's so difficult.
Yeah.
And put under the microscope here as well. Brilliant play from Runner. Someone who's been to champs last year with Vitality. Another name like Westside that coming out of East was hot off the press. A player which we have high expectations of. The reason why this roster is considered to be a dark horse. And if we get more of that from the individuals with good calling from the structure, then that's the GX that does make deep runs.
I mean, that's the thing, like, when you look at both rosters, right, or both organizations even, and how they've looked generally across VCT as well, like GX, when they started in 2023, back when partnerships first begun, they were able to make a champs, and since then, it's just been going on a downward trajectory.
Well, I mean, I think that one for GX in comparison to now feels sort of like 1 in a million, right? You're looking back at the old system, both teams with ambitions to return to the international stage for the first time since they met in the final of EMEA's last chance qualifier, which sent each to Champions 2023. So there's a bit of history there in terms of how they're constantly chasing to try and get back to that holy grail. Na'Vi, of course, with a complete rebuild of their own.
Yeah, it feels like ages and years away since we've been near that FPX iteration, you know, that eventually Na'Vi picked up now towards this round and what's going on. Hon will identify players towards the north side.
It does still feel like the same engine under the hood, with Angel and Shao retained. It's a new identity which they've got to try and build, and you are starting to see that with Koala in the side as well, the AWP, how reliant on it they seem to be. He is on the A main angle, but yet to clear out the deep one. Now he finally has, with this embed. Navi still resolute in positioning, yet to rotate a player, happy to rely on the Cypher setup B as well.
I mean, being quiet towards the B side while they try and create as much noise as possible towards A, faking it out, and while the smokes drop, locking out GX goal. West side needs to be careful of the angles, and he'll be able to get rid of Hero. The opposite number. The whole B site was set up for kill traps, and with Hero gone, there won't be any capitalization.
Such a frustrating death as well, because the rest of Na'Vi had the read. They were ready for rotation as soon as that util came out to clear the op, so they go a player short-handed into the B retake, and we already know how strong GX look from these positions.
Yeah, I mean, post-plants, the utility there is absolutely sublime. Nice combination of utility, and NAVI suddenly open up the site. Chaos ensues, a classic right-click, and now Cloud from main, trying to play in West side, who's still in towards Arcade. You're waiting for that activation as NAVI get on towards the spike. Playing for the salvos first, the delay being worked for. West side once again providing value and providing GX with the round.
So much strength from Westside on his positioning alone, but it's the kills on top that make him a player to watch in VCT EMEA right now. He doesn't just shoot his gun, but there's a smart head on those shoulders as well. So disciplined in the position, and as nice as this retake attempt from Na'Vi was, with the utility to come back through and the movement from Koala here as well, they still feel so thinly spread when it gets to that late stage of the round, and you feel as if they do need to be holding on to these sites, and that's where Hero's first death feels that much more pain.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as you said, when it comes down to it, the chaos didn't stop working out. This buy, not so great for Na'Vi. Being pretty aggressive, looking for something in which they can work with on this B side, but they didn't take a step further, and that's where the isolated West side was.
I highlighted the pistols, but really it's Koala's rifle that you've got to be worried about here, because that is all that Na'Vi have going for them into this one. Doesn't really feel like that buy's been broken all too much. They found 5 rounds, and well, here we are, 5-5.
I'll find you.
GX resetting mentally. As much as we said that's important to Na'Vi, you come back from 10 rounds down against some of the region's best. It says a lot. Now into this execute, well, feels like more of the same from Na'Vi. Players stuck on an island, it's Ruxic that's got to hold the line.
And he just can't quite get it to work. Yeah, players facing up, trying to stand up and be counted, and I mean, they're only being counted in the kill feed at this moment in time. I mean, yeah, Koala still has this rifle, but he's not being brought onto an angle that he'll find any value from it. This is looking like another GX round, unless there's to be something magic.
Koala already has his first, but plenty more to be done in that regard. Runner's already spotted out the position, and with the stun prepared, he's forced to disengage. Further ground lost by Na'Vi, as the weight carried by their feet is swallowed whole from underneath. Purpo landing a killing blow, which sets up the 6 as Na'Vi finally fall behind in this map.
5 rounds in a row so far. This GX attack starting to look that much better, and we brought up the stat, right? The production put it up for us. 30% win rate on the attack. They're doing so much better right now. And again, that could be brought down to actually being comfortable with the opponent that they're playing.
Confidence, such a big thing. As much as I was talking about the mental just then and what Cloud provides, you even look at Purpo in the team and how he changed completely as a player as soon as, you know, you changed the leadership with Redgar gone and Cloud coming in. It felt like he was supportive of him as an individual, and already, look, Na'Vi are fighting multiple fronts here early doors.
Yeah, they're being proactive, looking to try and get something. Angel playing on the front foot, gets rid of Tamazi, but realistically, the utility trade-off is so much better for GX.
And they're preparing the Rolling Thunder. There's nobody in the site, so do all too much. The orbital strike does take players off the line where the trap was set up, but Hero still able to walk away with one, so advantage restored for Na'Vi. Flank coming in late, stun slightly missing, but the orbital strike moving players out position. So much invested by both teams at this point in time, yet still it doesn't feel like GX have an advantage.
While Noob is starting to clear out towards Dish. This has been an issue every single time GX have executed on towards A, and Westside could easily be caught. Now, look at this, the player's close by.
There is a slight adaptation from Westside because he's just dropped into the corner here and actually completely overlooked his chance to get the first. He'll find it onto Roxic. One more required of him, but it's Hero this time that will win out between the Cyphers. A duel which had been going the opposite way time after time, but Na'Vi get it when they need it most.
Yeah, now we go in towards the next half all even. It's been a half of two halves if you think about it. Navi started very well, GX improved, and now we've got to look towards that second half to see if GX's defense can be that much better.
One enemy remaining. Standing.
Welcome back. So, coming into the second half on Na'Vi's pick of Fracture, things not looking so good for them thus far. If you're just tuning in, they went up by 5 rounds to 1. Yet we find ourselves at an even half outside of the opening 12. GX responding, as we know they're able to. The previous series, they played a demonstration of that, but can they translate it into yet another map win?
Yeah, again, something to talk about was the fact that we spoke about GX being bad on the attack. Now we've ended up coming into the half at 6-6, a much better improvement, and it feels like so long since we've seen GX in a position to actually go and take an advantage into the second half.
Got one. Tripwire
Starting
destroyed.
off in the pistol. You can see it's a split play from Na'Vi. Already Westside needing to deal with the first of those players. It's Roxic that goes in solo, but the combo back to re-engage is beautiful. Simply sublime. Westside already with 2 kills picked up, and he's made it a third before the round has even come to a conclusion, which feels slightly foregone. Hero does respond and has chance now to pick the spike back up and reposition himself. GX are getting active and starting to re-clear some of this themselves.
This is good, although Hero is standing waiting, but he's thinking they're coming through. Door doesn't look the right way. Purple will get the last. And for the first time in a long time, GX will go ahead and take the advantage after the opening second half.
Yeah, finding GX in front after the half is nice to see a picture-in-picture there. Clean from Westside, and this is just brilliant supportive utility, because it's one thing to have a team of individuals, like we said before, and it's another to enable them. Yeah. When you have Westside in that position, the same position that we literally saw Hero play for Na'Vi in the first pistol round, you're looking at what is the follow-up, what is the support framework there. Here, the game plan executed on by GX.
Tamazi has not had a good first half, but looks to do better on the second. GX opening things up with the better weaponry that they currently have.
Very clean start to the round, and with Tomasi picking up the Outlaw as well, that's exactly what you expect from this gun. Anti-eco frags, keeping it simple. NAVI are a team which, in these ecos, can be a little bit problematic. GX, the previous game against Heretics, you're not going to win many of those, you know, bonus rounds, for example. But with the weapons that they've got now, if you continue to keep that clean, then it opens the door for opportunity.
Look at Tomasi though, already explode. That's full top side. He's on his hollybobs. You know, but the fact that what I'm trying to say here is the fact that he's exploded a full top side of the map, had no contact whatsoever. So GX are starting to think, well, it's got to be towards A.
Holiday for the
30 seconds left.
English viewers, and of course, vacation for the Koala Noob fans.
Thanks, mate.
5v3 though, and GX seem to have read this fairly well. 2 players on the A site ready to deal with what feels like an empty threat for Na'Vi right now. 15 seconds, and they are yet to push this choke.
Yeah, I mean, there's still got to be an attempt from Na'Vi, you would expect, and as they do attempt, the rest of GX will come in. One player off an in-zone flawless, but still a great attempt nonetheless.
And it's just a ghost in the hands of Cloud, which goes down as well. So this is what I'm talking about when I say coming into that next round with a really strong bonus against a team like Na'Vi, where, as you mentioned before, they're a team which can sometimes struggle up against the lesser weaponry.
That's it, yeah, it was a stat that looking into, but at the same time, like, it was the anti-ecos that they always struggled with. We saw it a few times against Apex in the last series, then, I mean, it was all the way back for Fnatic the last time they played in kickoff that they also got anti-eco. This is an interesting one though. Seeing a Giant X timeout after 2 successful rounds.
It's not very often that you see a timeout called here, especially when you do get that sort of 2 minutes mark that you have at the half time, right, for the coaches to say their piece. So Pipson obviously has something that he wants to go over for a second time.
Yeah, I think though for me, like, if you're calling as a coach a timeout here, there must be some sort of anti that they've highlighted, and they're looking to reiterate. The first 2 rounds, Na'Vi have done X, Y, and Z, so this means that they're playing the same game plan that we expected them to.
Any potential tells, because the composition has remained the same despite the way that the meta has developed since kickoff. Still, Angel running the fade, they've not moved over to the Teho. They are still playing their own brand of Valorant, and sort of as you say there as well, GX very happy to double barrel these timeouts, you know, in any given half. And of course, when it comes to coaches, Pipson more vocal than most.
Well, that's it. No more timeouts for GX. So if things get spicy later on, as Jesus take the wheel, but we'll see if that's needed.
Pipson at the wheel.
How good does it feel?
Let's find out. Hands off for now. It's GX, they need to convert this, but just look at the weapons they have. 4 rifles, 2 of them Vandals, and Runner the one to repossess the Outlaw. That is currently set up towards A. It's a Cypher play B, and close to the smoke is where Purpo looks to make the play.
Playing across, lovely entries into the round. West side, 2 of his own. And well, Na'Vi with absolutely nothing. They're all hot on the heels, GX. They're not letting these players get out on towards the site. Not at all. Ruxic, who was holding on to the spike, will go. And now Hero will as well. Tomasi getting 2 of his own. That's massive from GX. Bonus converted.
And that was the threat that I posed as well. It's such a quick reaction to that pressure on B. And when you're playing defensively, sometimes you do just need to fight into an area. I think we saw Gentlemates do a really good job of this against Foot, where they were constantly trying to attack the space on a mental timing when the push is coming in. And this is, for me, where it feels like GX have evolved. Tomasi even picking up some words from some of his teammates.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we saw Mini try and do that, like playing off of his cage, etc. as well. But now it's about Tomasi being able to play off the contact in arcade, breach utility in, and he's still hanging around, still managing to survive, and he's escaped.
Tamasi and Runner here. The players required to try and do that, and oh, he's certainly going to be saying another word which isn't Portuguese in just a moment, as Ruxik's already managed to chip away one. Second player would have been nice, but nice isn't good enough because NAVI are now shut out of options towards main.
Yeah, but look towards the A side. Navi are pulling back because of the space that Hero's been able to grab. There's a Joker in play as well with Koala deposited towards that B tower. Hero just seeing what he can find on this A side while not trying to give away his position through any of the Cypher utility. GX have an idea though.
Tripwire destroyed.
The question has to be for NAVI, what do they do when this trap is broken? Is it the A site which they look to take? As Angel is jumping back up into Dish, and yeah, they want to follow through on the position of Koala Noob. He's calling to the rest of his team. B is as open as it gets, and in fact, I've got a Vandal in my hands now as well to reinforce it. Hero falls, and that's just going to buy a little bit more time and attention from GX.
Need to be aware. They must have an idea that a player has been deposited towards that B side, and Koala can't make good of his position though.
There's a flank coming in the meantime as well. Cloud setting up to just close this Vice grip, which GX seem to have found for themselves on the map so far. Xiao getting one back. In fact, Angel as well. Navi suddenly showing signs of life in this eco round. Often they're the ones who get done with inferior weaponry, but this time rolling it back themselves. Xiao has a rifle though.
Yep.
A Vandal in his hands. Playing from the corner, yet to be cleared. The plant isn't open, and so Runner's just going to stick this all the way through. Xiao can't get on the angle in time. Despite his best efforts, it's Runner to close for double digits.
I mean, you've got to be thinking about how Navi played that full round. It was nice. They had deposits here and there. They could go back and forth, and it was off real actionable intelligence, right? At the same time, though, like GX, they're hunting and they're finding players every single time that they go hunting and playing in advantages. But at this plant spot, a big question mark for me because Navi have so much time to get that spike down.
And it's not the first time either that we've seen problems with the post plant. As slow and methodical as Navi tend to be in terms of how they work the map on Fracture, and have done for years when we speak of identity and what you play as a team, what brand of Valorant you bring to the table. Now into the full rifle round, they're looking to double dip on this side of the map. The B site under siege yet again, but GX are responding, and they've got numbers, bodies on the line.
Still though, the delay working out in their favour right now. GX still waiting for Navi to try and get out, but relay bolts in towards Molly's. It doesn't work out. West side's going to wander, and once again his shorties come out on top. Although Ruxik on the other side has managed to open up the B site, and Navi can get that spike down.
Westside wasn't quite on the same page as his teammate, so it is an opportunity now for Navi. They've got a little more time to set up in post, and look at the tools that they're working with. Molly on Ruxik, and well, that's about it actually.
I mean, they'd also have the orbital strike. I mean, that's the Rolling Thunder gone, so there's no sort of delay anymore. It's just got to be the players standing up tall and making sure of it. GX clearing all the corners, again, dotting their I's, crossing their T's, making sure to pay attention to all the small details. Now you've got to wait for Ruxik's Molly, as the orbital strike has bought enough time. Runner good on it, Hero as well. And now, yep, there it is, the Molly that will buy so much time right now. A tap of the spike to bait out Ruxik's peak, but it's not what you want. A player who gets 4 on the round.
Ruxik's such an aggressive player as well, but when you have him alive late in the round like then, it is such a massive win condition for Na'Vi. Something which they've highlighted was an issue before when they were trying to close out maps, not knowing what those win conditions were, so having him as a viable option, and with just the one ultimate invested in doing so as well, it sets them up nicely coming into the next of these purchases. GX with plenty of tools of their own though, and you've got to be looking at those bottom 3.
I mean, the fact that GX have been so proactive, it makes complete sense that they would be proactive here once again to try and get an Armageddon, etc. online. Koala Noob just sent flying in! Knocks up Cloud, and well, Rolling Thunder back to re-engage. Overdrive as well, the utility is spot on. And Runner, who's played absolutely amazing so far this map, follows it up. Hero now trying to grab this back, but he's up against 3, has it?
He is, manages to find the first, second, and 3! and Hero has his moment. A clutch which keeps Na'Vi within touching distance.
A Red Bull clutch. There's no way, right? You're looking at it. There's 3 players. They're all close by. It should be so easy to just trade off one another. Koala Noob's entry looked good, but there was no follow-up. And this is just unbelievable. That's why you pay the big bucks for Hero.
Coming off his stint on Fnatic, of course, it was majority Cypher which he played there. We saw a little bit of the Duelist the other day. But it feels like in the current meta, a lot of the time he was being shoehorned into Vice, which really wasn't necessarily the best fit for him, I think, individually. So with the changes that we've seen in the most recent patch, wondering if those ramifications begin to bleed over a little bit more in terms of what he's most comfortable on, because that's something which you really want for a player like him, 19 years of age, to feel that comfortability when it is, you know, only just your second year really playing in this environment.
Happy, looking to calm the players down after such a great clutch. Now, looking at the map and how these rounds look, the fact that GX, again, we try and highlight it as much as often, are on the defense. They don't have that ability to build up their economy. Their buy's broken, and they need to be careful about how they manage their economy moving in forward rounds.
It's a split purchase, which we'll get from them here. 3 rifles, 2 sheriffs. Always shown favourability towards those Guardians, of course.
As you've got to be careful though, you're looking towards this top side of the map. GX are setting up for some sort of aggressive play.
The question is this any more than just an info gathering mission right now? Because there is a stun set up by Runner. It's a full contact piece until that cam is hit. Tomasi calling out the high gear. Hero managed to find 3 kills in the previous. Cage goes up in the corner, yet to be cleared. Just waiting for them to run into his crosshair, and it's Tomasi that takes him down. But in the meantime, Na'Vi have found themselves a free B site.
Yeah, the ultimate is going to be used though. Both ultimates. Koala Noob has no way to escape, and Cloud's got 2. Oh, this is going to be massive. Spike is down in the meantime though.
Roxic left to his own devices. He's the one that picks up the slack and the Guardian in his hands. Westside nails him to the corner of B site as GX reacted brilliantly to what Na'Vi did in that round. Just when they thought they'd found an opening, GX knew in the back of their heads that was the concession, and then the retake with the ult. Perfectly executed.
But it felt like after the timeout, right, the GX actually had planned that to a T. Angel's trying to escape the other way, Koala going towards Arcade. But I mean, from the get-go, they knew what they needed to do. Navi have fell completely in towards GX's hands. And the big thing for me, like thinking about it, is more like, how did Navi not think about the Armageddon that was in GX's pocket?
Always a concern. It does feel like Cloud as an IGL in the way that he calls likes to be on Initiator, where some other players would prefer to be a little more hands-off, as straight in to the A main fight. Tomasi's racked up yet another, continually building confidence as you can feel the electricity flowing through his veins. It's only an eco that they stand up against right now, but GX finding this could take them to map point on their opponent's pick.
At the same time, you look towards the space that Navi's been able to grab towards that top side, and finding the entry as well. This A side of the map is going to be a lot more interesting for Navi.
Thunder queued up. Xiao is just ready to respond to any play from Sand. Hero continuing to backpedal as it's a double tap
the reload
on the spike plant from Dish. In he goes with a Sheriff, and it's not the kind of thing that you want to take a second look at. But very soon we could be sent to the VOD review screen as GX are closing in on this map now.
No Molly either, there's no sort of delay. Navi have to just win out the gunfights.
Hands on deck on the site. Roxic's found the first of those jewels. He's been mechanically sharp so far, but needs to continue to hone that blade. 3 already picked up on the round. Needs Xiao to save him, and to save Na'Vi he will. Ever dependent is his play in those late round situations, and so they cling on a little longer.
I mean, the micro, right? The micro aspect to that is absolutely massive. The fact as well, though, that Navi persist, they get the pick back in their favour, right? Angel doing so well to take out Tamazi. And at the same time, sure, Dish was a disaster, but that positioning allows Navi to execute into the site. Ruxic all alone, Shao getting the cherry on top.
No rest for the Wicked, straight into the next round, and it looks like another A main duel. Tamazi stunned up this time. Where do you go? You look to Cloud for support, it seems. Continually filling in the gaps, and NAVI have to completely give this one up for the first 20 seconds as GX have repossessed main, but in the meantime, Hero setting himself up in Dish yet again.
Yeah, it's the same round as we saw in the last, right? Navi are sticking around, seeing if they can try and re-engage, and this time GX have invested a drone to find out. There's two players, or at least one, keeping an eye on towards Dish.
Westside is so passive on B. Full focus from GX right now is on A. And while the backstab hovering above their shoulder blades, you've got to try and fight forwards here, and Tamazi will attempt to do exactly that. It falls in vain. Angel getting one back, and now Purpo in sand, given the squeeze as Heroes drop from the other side. GX converge on position as they continue on this course towards another map win.
I mean, you can see they try and crunch A main, but it's not that. I said it before, there was a player watching for the cross. Easy kill collected. Exact same round as last one. I mean, so easy to read for GX.
Look at this as well, even. It's just Westside double checking who the player, you know, if the player's going to come in from Dish. And as I said, he just so quickly responds. And here we have it. NAVI left with a ragtag purchase. 4 Sheriffs and a Bulldog in the hands of Koala Noob to dig themselves out of trouble yet again. Not the first time they've been in this position so far in the map. A map which they picked to play into, but GX have made them look second best.
I mean, right, they've taken their time to get this spike down, spamming out. Oh, the delay!
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, that's a lovely combination.
Feels like perfect ante on the position of the plant as well. NAVI do manage to get it in.
I mean, but there's no more utility for Navi either. They're going to have to win their gunfights.
GX is set up perfectly for this. Another potential winning retake on the cards, unless the Sheriffs can offset it. Shift the balance in their favor, open positioning to try and play back into, but Hero has to clear this smoke if he wants to give it a go, and the shots won't land. A stick behind the veil of the smoke as GX will pull NAVI down by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, I mean, GX look to play their defense like an attack, and while we criticised how good their attack has been, this map all around has been so proactive. GX had nice ideas. They even combined it with nice utility combos.
And with all of the potential that GX looked to bring from that previous series which fell short, they come into this one with a sense of vigor. The next map is theirs after the break.